bitch, you know? It's really unbelievable.
Mr. Son of a bitch.
I mean,
Mr. Son of a bitch.
His royal... Yes, yeah, no, I never imagined that we'd ever have a president like this, and I hope we don't ever have another president like this again.
Anything to talk about. Kimmel was given each one of them was given a reset except for Seth. I didn't even know he was still on the air.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody did. Everyone's watching Forensic Files.
Yes.
No one's watching Seth.
One of the greatest shows ever.
Yeah, but these guys, they had opportunities to reset. Kimmel could have came back and tried to be funny again, or bring guests again, or show any kind of change, but they're really going to ride this out to the last drop. What are they going to do when he's gone?
Tyrus just crossed a line nobody expected when he went straight at Jimmy Kimmel, and now Hollywood is buzzing. The so-called king of late night might be wide awake tonight, because this clash is pure chaos. It's the showdown nobody asked for, but nobody can stop watching. A powerhouse-turned-comedian firing direct shots at the guy who laughs the loudest at his own jokes. You can almost feel the tension in the air, like a verbal brawl ready to explode at any second. So what did Kimmel do to spark this kind of fire? And why does Tyrus sound ready to take on all of Hollywood in one swing?
It's not the party. It's not the majority. It's the loud voices that scare people from saying what they believe and make you think twice about a joke or whatever, these things. And, a lot of their points are valid, but a lot of them are also just repulsive. And I mean, they repel people from, they go like, oh, you're no fun. I don't want to be around you.
Tyrus has done it again, turning words into real power. The man who once threw rivals around the ring now throws verbal punches that hit just as hard. It feels like WrestleMania all over again, except this time the weapons are microphones, not muscles. Every line lands like a knockout shot, and his latest target isn't some flashy showboat in spandex. It's something much more delicate. Tyrus traded the ropes for the spotlight, but he still makes the ground shake. His shift from fighter to truth teller feels unstoppable, like a storm ripping straight through late-night TV.
Are they going to be with Rosie O'Donnell in a four-way Zoom podcast about Trump ruining their lives still?
I'm glad you didn't stop at four-way. Although in my head, I can see it.
Oh, come on, man. My mouth was open.
And who steps up to face him this time? None other than Jimmy Kimmel, Hollywood's self-appointed prince of late night. A man who hides behind cue cards like shields and mistakes self-righteous speeches for jokes. Kimmel, the industry jester who built a career mocking everyone else, now finds himself in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. He's used to throwing the jokes, not being the punchline. But now the tables have turned, and every camera is fixed on him. The contrast couldn't be clearer. One man earned his toughness in the chaos of the ring, the other in the comfort of applause. And that comfort is starting to crack.
Mamas, I have one ex-wife. That's it. Okay?
Yeah, you tell
I had some scruples. Okay? I'll have one-night stands, but I will not marry people I don't love, okay? There's a certain line there.
You can't teach this cracker that.
I really think if they're going to continue to do a podcast, they need to bring their writers in.
Ooh.
Because that was brutal.
Terrible. They're out of touch.
It's like listening to two billionaires complaining about no one had change for their $100 bill at McDonald's.
And somehow this feud feels completely uneven. On one side is Tyrus, a powerhouse shaped by grit and real experience. The kind of quiet confidence that only comes from surviving true chaos, from locker rooms to live studios. He's faced storms most people couldn't handle and walked away without blinking. On the other side is Jimmy Kimmel, the guy who once teared up on live TV and called it journalism. It's a clear mismatch. Raw strength versus polished ego. You can feel the imbalance, like a heavyweight stepping into the ring against a late-night monologue. Tyrus represents toughness, truth, and reality, the kind that can't be staged under bright studio lights. Meanwhile, Kimmel hides behind applause signs, makeup, and moral speeches that sound deep until you actually listen.
They're like three ex-lovers.
Yes.
Who just found out about each other.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all getting together to talk about the man they all still love.
Right.
And they're just sizing each other up, trying to figure out which one of us has the best shot to get back with him.
Yes.
They all get together, they compare notes, and they tell each other, yeah, you should never mention his name again. You should never mention his name again. You should never. Does he call you? Doesn't call me? He texted me last week. Oh, so I'm still in the game. That's all this was. And that's why nobody cared.
The internet sensed the drama from a mile away. This was never going to be a polite back and forth. It felt like an all-out war from the start. Fans rushed in like sharks before the first punchline even landed. This wasn't just two entertainers disagreeing. It felt like a heavyweight clash with the gloves off and the crowd hungry for chaos. Memes flooded timelines, hashtags lit up like fireworks, and the internet split into sides overnight. It felt less like a feud and more like a major event, a celebrity roast without the laughs, a cage match without the ropes. The tension had a rhythm to it. The madness had a pulse. Every post, every tweet only poured more fuel on the fire. People didn't just watch, they jumped in. They wanted Kimmel to sweat and Tyrus to roar. This had clearly moved beyond comedy. It became a digital spectacle, and the internet had front row seats to the chaos. The lines were drawn, and no one could look away.
So annoyed. All I had was a crisp 100. They had no change. I was like, what is this world coming to? That's why I'm moving to Italy, girl. I know, me too.
Great.
Like, it's just...
Can I say something great?
Crossing guard goes, yeah.
How did you feel watching Kimmel cry?
One of his tears fell out. Hold on. You know, it's funny how this derangement's working, because it only seems to work if you have a camera in front of you.
Then Kimmel made his big entrance, soaked in Hollywood confidence and armed with a teleprompter full of one-liners his writers probably pulled from the internet. He was ready to laugh at everything except himself. The routine felt familiar. The smug grin, the I'm above this attitude, and a crowd clapping on cue like a perfectly trained orchestra. But just as he settled into his comfort zone, Tyrus stepped in. No script, no filters, no safety net. He didn't need studio lights or cue cards. He showed up with truth, grit, and a verbal steel chair ready to smash Hollywood's polished shell wide open. And when it landed, you could almost hear the echo. Egos cracking from Los Angeles all the way to Twitter. Tyrus didn't just call Kimmel out, he tore down the illusion. That relatable everyman image vanished, exposing a performer who hasn't touched real life since gas cost less than coffee. Kimmel's style of mocking wrapped in morality collapsed under the weight of Tyrus's authenticity. This wasn't rebellion, it was a revelation, and Tyrus made sure everyone saw it.
It's about the ex-wife's club.
Yeah.
You know, they just sit around, be funny, or they're setting up for when they're all canceled, their tour. Their three-man show.
Yes.
Come watch us say how much we hate the president. The funniest thing about this whole thing is they act like he got into the White House, and right as he got in, he's like, your list that you wrote for him, for people to go get. It's like, ICE, here they are, go round them up. No one gives a frog's fat ass what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because if they did, they would have stopped that podcast immediately.
Yes.
That's right. 100%.
Tyrus cut straight through Hollywood's glittering smoke and called it exactly what it was. He wasn't chasing attention, he was demanding truth. Finally, someone said what everyone had been thinking. Kimmel's idea of punching up? It's really just mocking everyday people from behind studio lights. Imagine it. Kimmel sipping overpriced wine on a set paid for by sponsors who still think TikTok is revolutionary, pretending to be the voice of the people. Tyrus's words hit hard because they came from experience, from a man who caught his way up through grit, silence, and sheer persistence before earning a platform. He didn't have fame or virtue handed to him, he fought for both. Suddenly, Kimmel's Man of the People act looked like flimsy paper, fragile and fading fast. The illusion broke the moment someone real pushed back. It's almost poetic. The same guy who once pulled pranks on strangers can't handle a little pushback from a cable commentator. The irony couldn't be louder, and this time, the joke's on him.
I expected to walk into work, stepping over, crying, to your credit, libtards.
Yes.
Like, oh, excuse me, up here.
Yes.
There we go. But it wasn't. Everybody went back to their lives.
Yeah.
So apparently the only way this heartbreak works is if you film it or force someone else to film it.
Right.
But to your point about Carson, We never knew his political affiliations because he was there to make everyone laugh. All the late night shows were.
And then the fans went completely wild. Social media turned into a digital coliseum, one side roaring Tyrus's name like he had just body slammed Hollywood itself, the other scrambling to defend Kimmel by digging up old clips of when he was supposedly funny. Spoiler alert, there weren't many. But this was more than just two celebrities trading shots. It was a cultural quake. The bubble of Hollywood pride had been punctured by someone who refused to play by its polished rules. Tyrus practically grabbed Late Night by the collar and growled, "Try laughing at yourself for once." For Kimmel, that's like asking a cat to swim. The cheers weren't driven by hate, they were powered by revelation. Tyrus didn't just roast a comedian, he exposed a pattern. The man who once mocked the powerful had become one of them, standing on a stage built from jokes about people he no longer understood. And that moral compass? It spins in whatever direction the next sponsor's check happens to point.
One clown went all in on ignoring reality and blames MAGA.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
So MAGA is desperately trying to portray Kirk's killer as not one of them. If that man was any more full of he'd be a colostomy bag. That was 2 days ago, so Kimmel had the chance to walk it back, but he can't.
At this point, even Hollywood had to admit that Tyrus might have been right all along. It was like watching the class clown realize the punchline had just turned on him. For years, Kimmel thrived inside his polished bubble, soaking in applause that was more manufactured than his spray tan. But when Tyrus called him out, there wasn't an applause sign big enough to drown out the truth. Fans started comparing Kimmel's scripted comfort zone to Tyrus's raw, off-the-cuff fire, and the contrast was brutal. Some even joked, "Hey Jenny, maybe try smiling more and mocking less." The internet smelled weakness, and that was all it needed. Memes rained down harder than any punchline Kimmel has delivered in years. Tyrus didn't just win the moment, he hijacked the entire narrative. Suddenly, Kimmel's defenders were spinning faster than PR interns on espresso, calling Tyrus bitter. Bitter? Hardly. Pointing out that the emperor is out of jokes isn't bitterness, it's clarity. Kimmel has been recycling punchlines like it's a charity drive, and the audience is finally done pretending they're fresh.
Them should be fired because it was such a big murderous election on one side that it should have been a reset. Because when it happened in 20, when he lost and Biden got in, I don't remember us doing an episode on coping skills. There was no line in the audience where I was like, "Thank you for coming. Thank you. We just like, well, let's keep going." And I believe we made fun of the situation and ourselves. So I always tell people, try to be the bigger man, which is ironic. But
impossible.
In this case, because the poor sportsmanship is coming from TV, normally I would say you can have one lap and smell your flowers, but go ahead and take 4.
The most ironic part? This feud ripped the mask off the thin, fragile line between comedy and activism. Kimmel has been tiptoeing along that edge for years, pretending his punchlines change the world, when really they just boost his ratings. Then Tyrus walked in and said what everyone was thinking. "You're not a hero, you're just performing for applause." Just like that, the internet turned it into a battle for the soul of comedy. Suddenly, it wasn't Tyrus versus Kimmel anymore. It was real humor versus moral lectures disguised as jokes. On one side, the Hollywood elite clutching their virtue like golden statues. On the other, everyday people who just want to laugh without a sermon. Tyrus became the voice of that crowd, bold, raw, and unfiltered. His message hit like a drumbeat. Comedy should strike nerves, not soften truths. And the audience agreed. The numbers said it all. People are tired of polished outrage and empty virtue signaling. They want honesty, even when it stings, and that's exactly what rattles Hollywood. Tyrus doesn't chase approval or polish his image for applause. That's why he wins without trying. Kimmel, by contrast, lives for validation. Every grin and every scripted zinger is built to keep him liked, but Tyrus thrives on truth, not popularity. Instead of learning from the blowback, Kimmel doubled down on smugness, tossing gasoline on a fire and calling it composure. He tried to play it cool with forced smiles and shaky confidence, But everyone saw through the act. The truth hits harder when it's wrapped in a punchline sharper than your ratings chart. Even neutral viewers noticed. Every Kimmel comeback felt more rehearsed, more desperate. Meanwhile, Tyrus reminded the world what comedy once was: bold, untamed, and fearless. It wasn't built for comfort, it was meant to make people think. Watching Tyrus dismantle Kimmel's moral pedestal was like cutting the power in a room full of fake lights. Suddenly, the laughter felt real again, and Kimmel's act dimmer than ever.